Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, there are over 110 colleges and universities in Massachusetts. Due to time constraints, external capacity was refined to public institutions only. Of the 29 public institutions we contacted for this study, 16 responded with an expressed interest in building relationships with DCR. Additionally, in our sample of 29 public institutions alone, we found that a vast majority of them offer programs in subject areas relevant to the kind of work performed at DCR and are located within 20 miles of one or more DCR properties. So you'll notice that I haven't included many tables in this presentation, and that's because all of our findings were organized in extensive tables that I like to call asset maps, because they essentially provide a mapping of all public institutions and the relevant academic programs and degrees they offer. This includes proximity maps of each academic institutions, so that DCR is able to sort of look at both where properties are and where the appropriate schools are located correspondingly. So overall, these findings suggest a large and promising spectrum of opportunities for collaboration. Recommendations can really be broken down into three separate areas. I won't spend too much time on this, but that those different areas are institutional recommendations, recommendations for R&P development, and then overall recommendation for the phase 2 assessment. Recommendation number one is very, very important, so I will talk about it briefly. And that's that DCR should actively pursue strategies to secure institutional knowledge that may be beneficial to building relationships with institutions of higher learning. There are significant communication barriers and challenges for agencies as large and widespread as DCR. We're talking 1,400 employees spread over dozens of offices throughout the Commonwealth. The findings in this report, both through consulting internal counterparts and looking at similar research, looking at large, widespread agencies like DCR, it's obvious that they could benefit from a strategic approach to identifying and sharing institutional knowledge regarding past and current relationships with academia. And then, this approach should include an accessible platform for collaborating and sharing information with counterparts internally. And then, even probably most importantly, the organization needs to really consider, and they are, the large flux of DCR employees on the brink of retirement. Over 60% of DCR employees are over the age of 60. So it would be very wise for the agency to address these issues before valuable information gets lost between generations. Recommendations 2 and 3 really just talk about the need to allocate more resources to this study if the department is serious about moving forward. Recommendations for R&P development, number 6 here is really important, and that is that DCR should look to completed RMPs in progress to identify property-specific information needs, and so what that would do is at the end of each section RMPs, there's a subsection titled Recommendations, and the purpose is designed to essentially identify data gaps and make recommendations to fill them. And these recommendations are specifically laid out. They are rated based on priority, available resources, funding, and the party responsible for implementing them. So I believe this system could serve as the nexus for aligning the potential role of academic institutions with the management goals of DCR. My last recommendation, final recommendation, is in regard to next steps or phase 2 of this assessment. I don't have time to go into the details, but last month, I believe it was at the end of March, there was a study released in Park Science Journal that was astoundingly similar to my study. The only difference was that it looked at the national level, and it looked at the potential of academic collaboration with the national park system. And I think another difference was that the internal and external capacity was defined more broadly. In any case, the study took place over 8 years. Certainly doesn't have to be the case for this study. but the researchers administered a questionnaire internally to national park staff and externally to academic institutions. I would highly recommend DCR to use this questionnaire. Of course, some adjustments and refinements will need to be made accordingly, but the work is done. It's an excellent study, and it would be quite easy to implement electronically. So I would recommend adding that into the phase 2 portion of this project. So that concludes my presentation. I wanted to give you to end by giving you a sense of where we go from here. I'll be presenting my research at the next Stewardship Council meeting in June. I think at the end, this is sort of a joke here, but not really. I think if the agency is serious about establishing and maintaining a formal system-wide college recruitment program, and I know they are from conversations I've had with senior staff, the bottom line is that they will have to dedicate more resources to first carrying out the phase 2 portion of this project, and then beginning to make decisions about the most cost-effective ways to implement such a program. Overall, I think the research in this project alone, which really just a semester-long survey of the 29 public institutions in the Commonwealth, demonstrates the tremendous potential of DCR and academic partnerships to both enhance education in the Commonwealth and generate beneficial information to the improved management of the Commonwealth's park system. So thank you for listening, and if there are any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Thanks.